Group 5 members, Genesis Tagic, Keanu Kier Saldivar, Alakrem Briguera, Dominic Balamat, Giancarlo Pamelin.
Good day everyone, especially to our most respected instructor, Sir Pete Kabakog. I am Tagic Genesis from Group 5 and this is my 4 members, Saldivar Keanu Kier, Briguera Olikram, Balamad Dominic, and Paimalan Giancarlo. And today's topic, we will discussing about gender fluid. What is gender fluid? Gender fluid people are people whose gender changes over time. A gender fluid person might identify a woman one day and a man the next. They might also identify as a gender by gender or another non-binary identity. Some gender fluid people feel that the changes in their identity are extreme, while others might feel that they are arbitrary. Their gender might change quickly in a matter of hours or slowly, or even months and years. When they realize their gender identity has changed, they might or might not change their gender expression, how they dress and present themselves, for example, and their pronouns. For many gender fluid people, it's an internal shift that might not want to express outward. So, unsa kuno ang gender fluid? Ang gender fluid kuno nga mga tao, sila ang mga tao nga ilang gender mausob kada oras, buwan, or tuig. Murag dili siya constant. For example, laki ka karong adlaw, nya ini kaugma, mabati na sa dimong nausob imong gender. Mahimo na sad kang bae or imong dughan mahimong babae. So ibutang nato nga na-realize nila nga ilang gender identity, sila ray makabuot nga unsaon nila pag-express sa ilang sinuotan. For example, sa ilang inner self. Karong adlaw, feeling nila laki sila. Wa na nagpasabot nga magsuot sad sila pag panglalaki. To sum up, nga kung unsay gi-mention na ho earlier, ang gender fluid ma-feel na siya nimo internally and psychologically, dili kay magbase ra ka kung unsa imong gisuot. So, let's proceed. Is gender fluid same thing as gender queer? The answer is not exactly. A gender fluid person's gender change over time. A gender queer person's gender might not. There's a little controversy when it comes to definition of gender queer. Generally, genderqueer people don't identify exclusively as male or female, or their experiences of gender and queer. That is not conforming to the mainstream. That said, you can be both a genderqueer and a gender fluid. Genderqueer is a non-binary, or genderqueer is an umbrella term for gender identities that are not solely male or female.
Can a gender fluid person be identified as transgender? A transgender person is anyone whose gender identity differs from the sex they were assigned at birth. Some transgender people may identify as a man or a woman, non-binary, gender non-conforming, or another identity. Non-binary genders, including gender fluid, fall under the transgender umbrella. If a transgender person has a gender identity that changes throughout their life, they may identify as gender fluid. For example, ikaw laki, originally pagkapag-anak, kanya sa nagka-anam siya kadako, nagka-realize siya nga bayot dahil siya. So, later on, gusto siya mo improve since atong topic ay nag-focus sa gender fluid, naka-state diri nga ang gender fluid na bilong ragyapon sa transgender.
How is gender fluidity related to health in children and teens? Just like adults, children and teens who express or identify their gender differently from their sex designated at birth are more likely to experience prejudice and discrimination. This experience may create minority stress that is harmful for their mental and physical health. Compared to cisgender youth, Transgender youth are 2-3 times or likely to have depression, anxiety, self-harming behavior, and suicidal thoughts and behavior. So mao to, di jud malikayan nga mabuli o madiscriminate ang mga gender fluid nga mga tao. Ang most mapektuhan is ilang mental and physical health. Mao nang daghan ma-depress sa ending and daghan mag-commit og suicide. Next, other names for gender fluid. People who are fluid don't abide by social norms and expectations that classify people within binary, either male or female, either masculine or feminine. The term genderqueer might also be used to describe a person who is fluid. Genderqueer describes someone whose gender identity doesn't fit within binary. Other LGBT terms for fluid include gender, no gender, bigender, both and female. Demigender, partial connection to a certain gender or another non-binary identity instead of using binary restricted pronouns such as his, him, he, and her, she, hers. A person who is gender fluid may use the more neutral terms de, them, their instead.
How can we help gender fluid persons? I encourage you to think about gender fluidity as part of the diversity of human experience related to gender, identity, and expression. While acceptance is important in how we treat anyone, is especially important for children and teens. One way nga makatabang ta nila is by supporting them. Dawato nato nga appeal na sila sa gender identity sa atong society. Ibutang nato sa buot nga ug gyunsa nato pag-treat ang saka cisgender, ingana pud nimo pag-treat ang gender fluid nga mga person. Next, listen to youth and validate their experience to their gender. Everyone is the expert of their own gender. Be patient. As a youth, gender fluidity may be part of their gender identity development. Inig ka duha, dapat open-minded ka. Maminaw kanila ug insa ilang mga thoughts. Kay matag usa nato kay baw man jud ta ug unsa atong gender.
Support gender fluid youth in making informed decisions about gender affirming care such as hormone therapy and gender affirming surgeries. Connect them to support and resources so they can talk to others with similar experiences. Gender Spectrum is a great resource for both gender fluid youth and the adults in their lives. Last is kung naaman gani kay kailang nga gender fluid nga tao or youth, dapat suportahan pod nimo sila kung unsa man gani ang changes nga i-undergo nila para ma-improve pa and mas ma-develop ang ilang kaugalingon. One example is kanang mag-take og pills for hormones or kanang mag-inject o magpa-dakog boobs. Next is, a person isn't considered gender fluid just because they like to wear typically masculine clothing one day and feminine clothing the next day. That is considered a form of gender expression. To be gender fluid is chiefly a question of internal personal identity and is therefore a psychological phenomenon. Let's work us together. Thank you, sir.